Hola, soy Héctor Jaime y quiero saludar por parte de los Weird Lovemakers a quienes escuchan Eclectomeiroland por Política y Rock and Roll Radio 106.7 FM en Hermosillo, Sonora, la capital del rock and roll en México.
We'll have facial hair.
Well,
what's that? Oh, go ahead.
Jason looks very professorial now.
Yeah,
Like
right.
Yeah.
It works. Here, I'll put on my old Italian man glasses to really. I
I
look like Junior on The
those are like
Sopranos.
jacket.
the fashion.
Look at that! Look at that!
Italian fashion designer glasses.
So I just heard about this. I'm sorry. What's your name?
Juan. They call me.
Juan?
They call me Tomato, and I write it like it sounds in Spanish, El Tomato. And I I collaborate with a local community radio station here in Hermosillo. You guys have been here.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Carcel. El Carcel.
Really? And well, the fact that I noticed that this baby is well old enough. Is already an adult.
Yeah. 22 years.
Yeah, made me wanna talk to you guys and see what you can say about it. Who's that? Who's that missing?
That's Gerard.
Gerard.
All right, Mr.
Hector.
Sure.
G'day.
Gerard.
Hey, we're all here.
Oh wow, you have an upstairs, huh?
This could be like that.
Ooh la la.
No, this is the tiny house.
Oh, you have a tiny house. You put a tiny house in your backyard.
Well,
Backyard.
it's where my in-laws are staying. My
Nice.
in-laws are COVID refugees.
So you kicked them out? You kicked them out of the house?
Yeah, very
Well,
generous. Gave him the tiny house. All right.
That's pretty cool.
That's where you go.
It's actually a mess
Tiny.
right now. I don't know what
You go in the
they're doing.
hobbit hole.
That's right. Enjoy the Shire, Grandma.
Did they get stuck in Australia when were they
Yeah,
visiting and then got
they've been
stuck?
stuck here for 2 years, or not
Wow.
stuck. They've had opportunities to go home, but they didn't want to, and I think that was right.
Yeah.
But we're dealing so well with the pandemic. Why don't they want to come back?
I have every intention of moving to Australia and living in
So-
George's tiny house as soon as I can.
I would love it.
My
I would
in-laws'
love it.
tiny house.
Well, it's great to
Um,
see you all guys here. My name Juan Gerard.
Oh, hi, Juan.
Juan from Hermosillo. This repeated venue, I guess, for the Weird Lovemakers several times.
You can call him Tomato, though, George.
Yeah, that's right. Tomato.
Tomato.
Oh, yes.
Not tomatillo,
I
just
speak
tomato.
That's right,
Dialect.
right.
Well, I guess I'll introduce you guys to the show. I'll edit this whole thing later on, but what brings us here is to commemorate this guy's adulthood, right?
The landmark album.
I don't even know what year it was actually officially released. Was it 2000?
2000, yeah.
Yeah, I think we
Oh,
recorded a lot of it in
21 years.
Yeah.
Well, this says it. You guys recorded 1999 and 2000 and released it, right?
Right. It was a
Okay.
more leisurely pace because we were doing it in Gerard's house. Most of the recording was actually done like in a combination of like our practice space and Gerard's house. Well, and Gerard and Hector, you were still living there, right? But
Yeah.
Gerard,
No,
yeah.
Hector was not living there
He
because I
wasn't?
remember I had the computer set up in the spare
That's
room,
right.
which was Hector's bedroom.
Was that after you kicked Hector out for fucking all the girlfriends you wanted to fuck?
The Weird Lovemakers air their dirty laundry.
VH1 behind the music.
They can do everything.
My cat
Well,
was,
Hector did.
got sick of eating his used condoms out of the rubbish bin.
what were they called?
I'm turning
Light
into a tomato now.
Pies? Light Pies by Aleister Crowley. Okay, I'll introduce you guys. I'll go in with a little Spanish and then move on.
Yep, I brought my translator.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, my wife speaks Spanish.
Great.
She's here, but she
Hi,
doesn't want to go
Joanna.
on camera.
Pray
Hi,
Yoko.
Joanna.
Hi.
Hello there. Okay. Bienvenidísimas y bienvenidísimos a Eclectomairoland. En esta ocasión tenemos el gusto y el privilegio de tener aquí a una legendaria banda de unos músicos muy sui generis que se llamaban, pero se siguen llamando y se siguen juntando, The Weird Lovemakers, desde Arizona, pero ahorita están en distintos puntos que pues gracias a la tecnología pues nos van a traer un momentito de su atención y de sus comentarios acerca de esta chulada que se llama Back 20, el álbum que grabaron bueno, que lanzaron en el año 2000 y por lo tanto ya es un adulto, ¿va? ¿Cómo están? Héctor, Jason, Greg, Gerard. Me voy a ir, yo creo que primero preguntándole a Héctor. I'll ask Héctor about how it all started and why you guys decided the way that you recorded it, because it meant a change, right, in the way that you did things.
Okay, yeah. ¿En español o en inglés?
¿Español? Igual.
En español, ok. Como empezó, nos había pedido un amigo de ahí de Tucson. Él tiene la disquera Start Time, la tenía en ese entonces. Nos pidió un álbum, quería él sacar un álbum. Y más o menos hace tiempo también teníamos pensado sacar un segundo álbum con Empty Records. Y entonces decidimos mejor grabar el de Empty, como era más grande, en un estudio, pues gastar el dinero en un estudio y grabar ahí. Y hacerlo mejor sin tener que gastar dinero, como no había dinero para las grabaciones, en casa de Gerard, en su computadora. Y así es que lo hicimos durante bastante tiempo, porque muy lentamente, ¿no? Medio separados, empezábamos, terminábamos. Y si, I'm telling the story here about why the Back 20, you know, that it was the back songs, right? Is that where it comes from? The back, like las grabaciones, las canciones que para nosotros pensábamos que no eran las principales, como íbamos a sacar las principales con Empty, eran como las.
It was a Morrison term, right?
Yeah, was it a Chris Morrison term, the Back 20?
That's when we would leave the equipment in the van overnight, like just put it in the back 20.
That was
okay.
Right,
Okay.
because you've got your front yard and the backyard, and we started like whenever we were loaded with equipment, we would start parking the van in the backyard instead of having to unpack later at night.
Yeah, but this was like a 40 acres and a mule reference. Like you got 40 acres,
40 acres,
and you put your house right in the center. You got 20 in
and
the
the
front,
mule,
and then
the
you got
mule
your
was
back
the
20.
roadie. The mule was our roadie.
Yes.
That's the Amphos.
Right.
Okay. So, así es que si eran como ya habíamos escogido las canciones para sacar el disco con Empty y luego estas eran las que sobraban. It was kind of like the remaining songs that we hadn't released, right? Basically,
We voted on the ones that we wanted to put on the Empty album, but we still liked all these songs. And so it was like, well, shit, we want to record those too. So these were like they didn't get the first vote. And that's why it's like more eclectic, you know, I think.
Oh, which by the way, it's probably why I admire it so much. I actually call this radio show eclectic, you know, Eclectomairoland. Okay, so
Yeah, like Stoner Park wouldn't have been on an empty record. We would have been scared to put that on.
Yeah, and then we threw it on track number 1.
Yeah. To let everyone know that we're just going for broke. This was our weird album.
oh, and by the way, something I started doing like more than 10 years ago when YouTube wasn't that big a thing. I realized that I couldn't find any of your music, and I had some of your CDs, and I started uploading, you know, crappily some
Was
of
that
your
you?
tunes. Yeah.
Because I found some of our songs every now and then. I don't have a CD player at easy access. I'm lazy. Sometimes I was like, oh, I want to hear a Weird Lovemakers song. And then there's a lot. You put a lot up, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
That's right. Well, my pleasure.
Wow.
So finally meeting you, and I'll ask if you're okay with this to carry on with the first couple of tracks, Stoner Park and Masturbation Fantasy. Well, Stoner Park, it says it's credited with Willis, right?
Yeah.
So what would you like to say about that?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's credited with me because like the guts of it, the bones of it are mine, but one of the coolest part of it is that kind of soaring melody, and that's Hector. Hector threw that on the top, that do 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 do. But I can tell you the weird thing. Can you hear my cat? She's gonna make an appearance. But the thing about that song was that I wrote it in a dream. This has never happened to me before because I'm not a musician. I'm just like a guy with a guitar. And in this dream, I was walking around like an art gallery or a dentist's office, or it was something where there was a PA system and music was playing over it. And I heard this melody and I woke up and I was like, well, I dreamt it, so I wrote that song. So I just like immediately hummed it into like a tape recorder and then figured it out. And that's the only time it's ever happened. And then in a practice, we arranged it and we were kind of making it sound like an Eno song. Gerard was doing drums that were kind of like off Taking Tiger Mountain by Strategy, or, you know, one of the first 3 Eno albums. There was some specific song that he was kind of using, I think, as his foundation. And so it was just like that same kind of looping hypnotic.
Here Come the Warm Jets is what I was thinking of.
Yeah. Right. Here Come the Warm Jets. Right. So the first album. Yeah. And so
that's a nice story. That's a nice story. Awesome.
I never knew that.
How about that?
News to me.
and then the thing that it says, what it says, do drugs, fuck your woman. There was a park that was called Stoner Park in Kansas where I grew up, and some dude had carved that with a knife into like the like we would all go there and hang out, and it was like carved into the table, you know, that we would sit at. And I just thought that was so hilarious. Like, this is it. These are your life goals. That's it. Do drugs, fuck your woman. Case closed.
And I actually uploaded it with a picture, or just a picture, you know, of a downtown park here in Hermosillo, which is called Madero. And if you say it in Spanish, Parque Madero, it sounds as if you're calling it Parque Quemadero.
Oh, right on.
Burning.
Like burning, yeah.
Perfect. That was meant to be.
Yeah.
Burnout.
And then that leads us to Masturbation Fantasy. Greg, what can you say about that?
That's just, you know, I read a lot of science fiction growing up. And but the story about that song is like, I don't know if you've heard that song a few times. I don't sing it right. I kind of, even though I wrote it, I still didn't get the note I wanted at certain points. And a few years later, there was this thing in Tucson they called the Cover Up, where this local venue would have, like, for charity, have bands cover other bands. So we did it many years. We did Devo one year, Cheap Trick.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
There would be like 6 songs you get, 20 bands a night. And one year, these young kids, I don't think we knew them, did we, guys? I don't even know these guys. They decided to do us as a cover up. So they did the Weird Lovemakers. And they picked Masturbation Fantasy for some reason, and he sang it right. And I was like,
that's
these guys
it,
covering us, and he's singing it the way I wish I could have sung it. That was kind of a sad moment.
Oh.
No, that's like, have faith in the next generation, man.
That's right. That's right.
He improved on it. It was like 2.0.
That's like Love playing a Baccarat song.
That's exactly what it was like.
Masturbation
It was love doing baccarat.
Well, let's go with those tracks for this first break, and we'll listen to Escucharemos los temas Stoner Park y Masturbation Fantasy de los Weird Lovemakers, de este genial álbum que se llama Back 20, que ya es un adulto, cumple 22 años aquí en Eclecto, Maryland, para novias, para piratonas y piratones.
Are you going to play the whole album for your listeners?
That's right.
Section?
Everything along with the computer last part of it.
Well, that was another band.
I
wasn't
remember
us.
that.
That was another band.
I forgot that's
Estamos
on
de
there.
vuelta. Estamos de vuelta aquí con los Weird Lovemakers desde distintos puntos del globo o de la tortilla si eres terraplanista. Y vamos a seguir platicando bien a gusto aquí con Héctor, Jason, Greg y Gerard sobre esta genial joya que se llama Back 20. Acabamos de escuchar los temas Stoner Park y Masturbation Fantasy y continuamos ahora con lo que sigue. Creo que este fue el primer track. This is the first track I bumped into. Hey Hey USA. So it's credited to Willis and Jaime. And then JFK versus the Six Gun Kid, which is an amazing image, I think. So, Hey Hey USA. Héctor, ¿qué nos puedes contar de ese tema?
Ok, pues la música está escrita por Jason y yo escribí, como yo canto, escribí la letra. Y es una historia de un amigo mío que me contó él, que lo habían torcido con marihuana. Y entonces, no sé cómo lo hizo, pero se escapó y se escondió en un bote de la basura, de esos grandes. Y luego, ya que pasaron, pues los chotas que no lo agarraron, se huyó, ¿no? Pero realmente lo que pasó, se me hace que por fin sí se fue al bote, ¿no? Pero en mi historia, mejor él se va para México y se queda en México hasta que pasan 20 años, no sé. Y aquí no sé si así sale la ley o no, pero en mi mente eso pasa y luego regresa a los Estados Unidos después de 20 años.
El viaje otra vez, ¿no?
Ajá.
So, Hey Hey USA, and then it goes on again.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, Juan, do you want me to give you some behind the music on that song?
So, sorry?
Do you want some VH1 behind the music on that song?
I want it.
Please.
Let's hear.
You know what it is. There was a running debate because I thought Jason took the chords from Captain Ugly from an earlier album. And I would say, it sounds too similar. You can't have them on the same set.
I don't remember this at all.
And Jason would always say, it's not the same song. I was like, it sounds the same chords. It was a running debate over the years.
I thought I was ripping off the Real Kids with that song.
Well, Hector's vocal melody definitely changed it anyway. So it's just like Captain Ugly was actually stolen from Rush and the Only Ones.
Yeah, that's like an Only One song, right?
Well, it's also Rush. It's
right.
Mashed up with the Only Ones. Yeah. Nobody ever called me on it, by the way. Nobody ever said, you just ripped off the Only Ones for that song.
That's right. Another girl, another spirit of the radio.
Look at that. Look at that. VH1 documentary moment then.
I was in my car the other day, and this was before this. I knew about this radio show, but my phone somehow decided to play Back 20 album. And when it came on, I was just like, what? Oh, okay. And I strangely decided to go with it and let it play. And I loved Hey Hey USA. I was like, wow, that's like one of our best songs ever. And I thought it was really good. I was like, I'd forgotten how good of a song that was. And I love the lyrics and the story about the guy, dealing drugs and running away from the cops and getting away with it.
Whipping the finger, right?
That's right. Hanging out in a dumpster behind the Circle K. That was very clever.
Yeah. Oh, no. But I'm just curious, since I've been gone from America for so long, now that weed is legal in America, what's happening with like weed across the border from Mexico? Is that no longer a thing? What's going on?
It's still a thing because it's only legal state by state. It's not federal, right?
Ah.
So there's still And there's quite a few states that have legalized it, but the federal government doesn't recognize it as legal. So as far as crossing it, and there's all kinds of laws, right? So if you can't, like here in California, right, it's legal, but you can only sell what you grow here. You can't sell it in another state, right? So even just crossing state lines
I love how for the first time in our lifetimes, states' rights is a positive thing. The first time. States' rights.
Yeah.
It's not about racism. It's just about let people smoke pot if they want to.
That's right. And well, I bet it was a lot of fun, you know, to play it. Wasn't it? It sounds like a lot of fun from the musician point of view. Well, musician.
Yeah. No, I have like a solo in that. I never did a solo. It was like that little one note, do 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 do, whatever. Like that was you know, usually
scorching fretwork, Jason. Scorching.
Scorching fretwork. It was kind of like an Agent Orange.
Oh,
lift.
Nice. Agent Orange, nice, great band too. And well, that takes us to JFK and the Six Gun Kid. What can you tell us about that very colorful image?
Well, a lot of my songs I cannibalized from other things I had written. Like I had a comic strip at the time. I had a lot of poetry and short stories from being a creative writing major at the University of Arizona. So when I ran out of lyrics, I'd just be like, hey, I got this comic strip with a neat idea. I'll just turn it into a song. And vice versa. Sometimes I took song lyrics and would turn them in for my poetry class and be like, oh, I got 2 for 1, you know? I got double, I recycled. I was very conscious about the environment even then. I like to recycle everything.
Well, let's call it resourceful.
Yes,
food.
I use every part of the buffalo.
There you go.
That song's where I learned about Alan Dulles. I had to do my research about the whole conspiracy. You helped me out, Bettix.
It was educational as well as entertaining, that song.
The magic
it was like
bullet.
Full House Rock.
Yes, exactly. 36 magic bullets for every brain and for every bone in Johnny's skull or
and
something.
I don't know how many bones are in the skull. I just made that. I was hoping there was 36. It would have fit perfectly.
That's the way poetry works, isn't it?
It's creative writing, Greg.
That's right.
Very creative, yes.
Very.
I've got a question for Greg, because I remember when we were recording that song, Greg and I had an argument about the vocals, and that Greg wanted to put a distortion effect on the vocals on that one, and I was like, no, this is terrible. You shouldn't do it, because we were recording on a computer and all the like effects things were not like actual pedals or anything. They were what's called plugins. And the plugin I thought was like a really horrible distortion effect plugin for this thing. It was just like digital distortion. And I was like, Greg, it sounds terrible, don't do it. And he was just like, no, I want distortion everywhere on this song.
Well, I always do that because I hate my own voice. So every time I'm in a studio, I'm like, what can you do to change it?
I think you won the argument on Opera Boy. There's a lot of distortion on the voice on that one.
Yeah, it was probably my suggestion.
So how has it stood up the test of time, Greg? Any regrets?
Well, I haven't heard it in years, to be honest. I didn't do my research.
Well, you're about to.
I just got back from New York at midnight. So I haven't had time to hear back 20.
Greg's sound at the very end of that when he goes, woo! Right? I think there was a conversation about the story that told over the course of those sounds. Like, all right, this is like the initial penetration. It's the gasp of surprise. And then finally he settles into it by the end. I'm pretty sure.
Can I interject though that I just want to say about this? Like, we didn't record this with Jim Waters, but our other albums we did, and we always had silly things like that. This guy's a professional producer, produced like Sonic Youth and huge bands, and he had to put up with that kind of shit. Like me going, oh, should I go whoo or huh, or should I put distortion on my voice? And he'd be
barking dogs in the background. Remember that?
Yeah, I want to mic a dead rat. I mean, he put up with so much shit, and we didn't know what we were doing, but we were just like, we had all these ideas, and God bless him. I mean, he put up with it, you know.
Well, then Matt Gerard had to put up with it for this album.
Yeah. But that was free, at least. It didn't cost us money.
4 little yelps at the end of that thing. I think it was about 9 different recording takes, you know, each
I think it was.
Yes.
take.
That's
I
what
wanted to get
remember.
it just right.
The yelps. It was a long conversation about the yelps.
All right, so let's carry on with that couple of tracks now. Vamos a escuchar Hey Hey USA y JFK versus the Six Gun Kid por los Weird Lovemakers aquí, y vamos a seguir platicando bien sabroso aquí con Héctor, Jason, Greg and Gerard en Eclectomero en Paranoias para piratonas y piratones.
About 10 years ago, I got busted with a ton of dope, yeah. I said I'm a man with the motor control, not that mama with the cutter. Hey, I got my whammies and I ran away, hitting the dust and rehearsing all. Skip turn and I went down south. Put the beauty in that out. We'll never heard from the law at all. It's been 10 years, so we had that call, yeah. Something is over and I got away. Flipping the finger at the U.S. Hey, so what do you say? Let's do it again. Making cash for the U.S.
Estamos de vuelta con los Weird Lovemakers y acabamos de escuchar Hey Hey USA, seguido de JFK versus the Six Gun Kid, lo que nos lleva a un tema ya más tenebroso, de Zombie Zoot y Red Fingers. What can you tell us about that couple? Who would like to say something about Zombie Zoot?
I wrote the lyrics, so but Zombie Suit it's
that
not
song.
It's because I mostly wrote the music.
okay, so
Okay.
I'm gonna say I'll say this in English and then in Spanish. I was listening to the back 20 before this on the drive to the grocery store with my 15-year-old kid, and I'm always making fun of the Smashing Pumpkins. and they were listening to the beginning of Zombie Suit, and they said, "This is a Smashing Pumpkins song," and then they played some song that's like, "This is a riff from the Smashing Pumpkins."
I'm already enraged.
So I said, "Okay, ask Jason about that one because I didn't write it."
Did that Smashing Pumpkin song come out before or after? Do we have a lawsuit that we can initiate?
That's right. I don't know.
There's no way did I take it from a Smashing Pumpkin song.
And the lyrics aren't very interesting. They're really just about being depressed. So.
But we had
It's,
zombie suits, remember? We played a show where we dressed up as zombies.
Well, tell them it wasn't just dressing up as zombies. We had a guy who worked for movies, a really good makeup effects artist, do like an hour, like giving really good wounds to our heads. Like it looked like Fangoria shit. It was impressive.
Yeah.
Nobody videotaped that, did we? We never.
I think maybe we were opening up.
No, we opened up for the Bomboras. Yeah.
For who? Oh, the Bomboras, yeah.
Yeah, and they had kind of a spooky thing going on. We were like, yeah, we'll dress up as zombies. We got a makeup dude, and I actually only just got rid of my zombie suit. Like I was just cleaning out my closet. I'm like, I can't fit this fucking suit anymore. This is going away.
I left that behind
Just
when I left.
staple it on your shirt.
Right. Yeah, I really like that song. Whenever that song comes up, it's an unlikely song for us, and I think your vocals and lyrics are actually very sort of sweetly sad in that.
Would you hum this song for me?
Well, the main riff goes do 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 do, and it used to be called Pretty Hookah. It was something I came up with that you called Pretty Hookah.
I called it that?
Yeah, I don't know. You'd come up with like just garbage names for songs until we knew what they were, the lyrics.
I totally forgot.
Yeah. But you wrote the closing riff at the end. That's why it's credited to the whole band. There's a riff that resolves it that was a Pedix riff. That's the closing.
I should listen to the album.
Yeah. So that one's just es de tarde. Lo que había dicho en inglés es que estaba escuchando con mi hijo antes del show y me dijo que el empiezo del riff de Zombie Suit es una canción de los Smashing Pumpkins. Y ahora tenemos que averiguar.
¿Con cuánto se van a mochar esas calabazas tocando? How much they're gonna have to pay.
And we threw a sample on that too from King of the Zombies with Manton Moreland.
Oh, that's what I was trying to figure out. Yeah,
the sample, the woman, he's talking to the cook at the house. He turns into a zombie by the end. Yeah,
has been.
He's so great, man. Manton Moreland.
No, it's a great sample you guys put in there. A lot of fun.
And Red Fingers was just like the hardcore.
Yeah,
a hardcore riff, but I don't remember much except that it's something about some sort of fantasy thing about like murdering somebody or some sort of like fictionalized murder thing. I think maybe not, but that's what I remember because it's
Gerard, you wrote
having red fingers from the blood.
All I remember about the song Red Fingers is that song actually predates the Weird Lovemakers in that it was a song that I had written when it was just me and Greg started in whatever band we could put together, and we ended up in this band Irving, and we had that riff and we were playing that song, and that song kept getting rejected for like over and over again, like year after year. It was just like, oh, Red Fingers, stick that in the reject pile, but then it never completely fell off the list, and Back 20 was its moment to shine.
Well, I bet that was probably a moment where the no veto rule came up, right?
That's right. So that's
right.
Veto.
How do you guys? Who came up with that? Did you all agree with it, or some of you said, "Let's do this"?
Did I come up with that?
You came up with it. We all endorsed it.
I would
Bull
think it was me.
was Peddix's little hobby horse, but it was
My peccadillo.
Greg and I used to play in another band years before the Weird Lovemakers called the Lonely Trojans. And that was a band where we had one main singer-songwriter who would love to play his own songs and sing his own songs. But then if me or Greg wrote something, he wouldn't say, no, I refuse to play your music, but he would just kind of like do such a half-assed job on learning the song that it always sucked.
Yeah, didn't he claim he couldn't play it? Like, he's this great guitarist. He's like, just
Yeah, there was one
He's
song
better
that
than
I
all
wrote
of us.
with my 3-chord guitar ineptitude. He was like, I just can't figure it out how you play it. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I can barely play guitar. And he was a really great guitarist, this guy. That's what made him more ludicrous. He's an amazing guitarist.
So am I right, Greg, that it was your experience with that guy?
That definitely helped. But it was kind of also from being in the Blink Dogs and growing up loving the Minutemen and like loving bands that just did everything. Like that's where they do everything. You know, it kind of fit perfectly. Even though I didn't know I was going to be a band called the Weird Lovemakers, where that was the motto of the movie, the tagline. But yeah, I always like bands that just be like, we can throw some crazy shit on our album. Even though we're a punk band, we could have a whatever, you know?
Yeah, it was like a revolving dictatorship because everybody was working for the guy who was just like wouldn't back down and was like, nope, I still like it. We're all going to have to play it. But then the solution was, if you didn't like it, all 4 of us wrote songs. So it was like, don't like it, write some songs you do like. And then we'll have more of those in the set too. You know,
Well, I think in the beginning, remember La Decisión de Mas, whatever, Shmata. I think you didn't like it at first. You're like, I don't know about that. And that became our most popular live song, especially in Nogales. So it was just like, if we didn't have that rule, maybe Jason would have been like, I don't like this. I don't want to do it. And
yeah, no, it made me a better person. The no veto rule. I'll go down on record. It improved me.
We had ways of pressuring each other. You know, there was always, you know, the ridicule and mockery. That was.
Yeah, there was that.
Yeah, there was no shortage of ridicule and mockery. The Weird Lovemakers.
Yeah, plenty of it. And well, how about that? The Weird Lovemakers, living real democracy. Okay, well, let's listen to that couple of tracks. Vamos a escuchar Zombie Zoot y Red Fingers de el genial álbum Back 20. Aquí en Eclectomero, en Paranoias para piratonas y piratones.
How's it taste?
I don't know, but it ain't kosher. What's it for?
It's a magic potion for scaring away the evil spirits.
Evil spirits? Good gracious of me. Well, it is evil spirits around here.
Why, sure. The place is crawling with them. And that ain't all.
What, there's more?
More? You ain't heard nothing. Just wait till you see the zombies.
Myself,
for Kid Zom.
What you doing in that lineup?
Don't bother me, woman. Can't you see I was a has-been?
A zombie?
Nothing else but. And don't ask me my name, because I don't know. I don't know nothing.
Estamos de vuelta con The Weird Lovemakers. Estamos escuchando el genial álbum Back 20, que ya tiene sus 22 añitos. Acabamos de escuchar los temas Zombie Suit y Red Fingers. Y ahora vamos a un momento un poco inusual en la música que nos tienen, bueno, que nos tenían acostumbrados The Weird Lovemakers en aquellos años. Here's an unusual moment with the song Mr. Chanto, Mr. Pedix.
Well, that was I used to work at a cafe in Tucson, Bentley's, and there was this guy who came in who looked like a Cro-Magnon. He had a really heavy brow. He was this weird guy, and he would just grunt his order. He really was, I think, like the missing link. And he'd always hit on these like young college girls who'd come there. And it was just so, I mean, it was gross, but it was also kind of sad. Like, dude, you don't have a fucking chance. Give it up, like read the room, know your audience. And he never got that. And, but then I also had this weird doo-wop type song in my head, 50s song, that I always hum, just going, dom, 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 dom. So I just put them together. I love 50s shit. After punk rock, that's my favorite kind of music is 50s.
How about that? Mr. Chanto came from, well, none other than Mr. Pedix's imagination and well, the way that he likes and loves also 50s music, right? Mr. Chanto. Anything else you might like to add, Hector,
Yeah.
Jason, Gerard?
I always thought of Mr. Chanto as kind of like a song from the Broadway version of Pedix the musical. And it sounds like a Broadway song to me, like you can just imagine the actor strutting out on stage, lecturing this guy, Mr. Chanto. And then with the big
I like that
chorus
interpretation.
in the middle.
Hey, Bentley's is closing, Greg. Bentley's is closing down.
You guys
Just
know
read
I
it in the
like
paper.
Broadway. I like Evita. These guys had to listen to some Evita in the van.
Yeah, Opera Boy was no joke.
Yeah.
And well, right after Mr. Chanto, there was also this other song called Unwanted. And something about the image. I don't know if you see it right here.
Let me see. I'm looking at mine right now. I finally got mine. Oh yeah. So this is the one time I did graphics for the Weird Lovemakers because Jason is a world-class graphic designer, and I don't know how I somehow convinced him to be like.
It was like an advent calendar. I
That's
liked
why
your
there's
idea.
a
Yeah,
big butt in there
Well, it's
somewhere.
also like I'm a comic book fan, Juan. So like it's almost like comic book panels,
That's right.
And that was I don't know where I found that. I think it was like a little card that was for weight loss. And it I don't know, it's so retro though. I don't know where the hell I can't remember where I found it. But it was, I don't know, it was just like basically a little mini short story about this, because I mean, I would always bitch about, as you know from my lyrics, about being an ugly fat guy, how hard it is to get laid. But girls have it worse. Guys care more. I know girls do, and they deny it. But girls, if you're like some fat girl, it's just like, it doesn't matter how cool you are. no, a lot of guys don't want to love you. You'll find someone, but it's harder, you know. So I don't know. It's just a little short story, basically.
Yeah, that was a page from the book of Pedix. Like there was a
How was that?
lengthy tome on this topic. This is
But I was
but a
projecting
page.
into a woman for once. I was going
For
outside.
twice. I don't know.
Wearing a
Fat lady
character.
sings. Come on, man. I mean, you actually
What
say
was
is
the
fat.
difference between
What?
the Pedix sadness and the Hector sadness? There was a reason for the Pedix sadness. There was no reason for mine.
Yeah, Hector just needed drugs. Just needed good mood altering
Yeah,
drugs.
you were just like a sourpuss. Pedix actually had a whole philosophy behind it. And you were just like,
That's right.
this town
I was the Malcolm
sucks.
X of ugly. But I do want to say, like back at that time, I was known as the king of the feminists in Tucson. So
The
that's
king
why I
of
would write from a
feminists.
woman's point of view.
Yeah, it said that in
Was
the
that
Daily Wildcat.
because of your hands, where you could like, what was that? You would wave your hands whenever you said something sexist.
That was with
and
Chrissy,
gross.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I was so sexually non-threatening, I could get away with saying foul things. Because girls would just be like, "Oh, Greg."
I just find that whole phrase "king of the feminists" to be pretty hilarious.
I would always tell
Yeah,
them,
right?
"Girl had a girlfriend who's a
That's
feminist."
what feminists need. They need a king.
King.
Exactly. How else are they going to get shit done? You're going to have a man with a kingdom. It's a feudal system, the whole feminism.
So let's take a listen to that couple of tracks. Vamos a escuchar esos dos temas, Mr. Chanto y Unwanted, ya que nos contaron un poquito más acerca de la historia detrás de esos temas, aquí en Eclecto Maryland, Paranoias para Piratonas y Piratones por
Mr. Chanto, don't you know that you have to wait for the green? You keep charging that red light as if it was a red flag. You stupid old bull, Mr. Chanto. Look at that! Look at the pretty young girl. When you see her, you want to explode, but she don't even notice. She done and then never do. Eyes up blue next only running away from you. You make a pass on her party. You're in man's monopoly. It all goes like a maven. Little drink thinks he can. Don't jump the gun. Your day is done. Get used to Mr. Chanto. Look at that! Look what you did to that girl. She can't ride this subway anymore. You're a pesky man, Romeo, so bad, no Dario. Watch out! Watch out! Watch out! Watch out! Can't take a hand, won't take a hug. You can plug a hole in a dud. Make them walk when you bitch through. They said girls don't like you. Get off the phone. She won't be home. Mr. Chanto. Smart as you put it with your whole band team. I was lucky but not in the way you want them to. You put it right cause I'm rolling down a fight. You fall asleep on your pillow every night. No matter what she does, she still is wanted. No matter what she says, she still is wanted. No matter what she do, you're so unwanted. No matter what she say, unwanted. You'll be alone. You'll be alone. You'll be alone. It's not okay. You'll be alone.
Estamos de vuelta con The Weird Lovemakers. Acabamos de escuchar los temas Mr. Chanto y Unwanted y seguimos platicando aquí con Greg, Héctor, Jason, and Gerard. Now I have a different setup. And,
Guys, would I be a dick to just correct and say it's Mr. Chanto?
Chanto.
Do I sound like a persnickety asshole for saying that?
Yeah.
Mr. Chanto.
Yeah.
Is it
I
not
do.
Mr. Pedantic Pedix? Is that what you meant to say?
Mr. Quibble.
Only if you agree to say potato from now on.
Yeah, the one no one says. That's your new way of pronouncing it.
Okay, now, please call me
Adidas.
Mr. Tomato now. And well, the following tracks are Vida Aburrida de Héctor y Sanctum Rectum de it says here Schumacher and Pedix, right? So Vida Aburrida, Héctor, what can you tell us about that song? Is it autobiographical?
Kind of, but you know, embellished as always. That was the one. I feel like there was always at least one song in Spanish, right? And in this case, that was the song in Spanish.
Sometimes
Canción en
two,
español.
right?
I was just, yeah, sometimes two and sometimes mixed with some Spanish lyrics here and there. Otra vez, ese es un tema de sentirse solo porque todos los demás han crecido, tus amigos han pasado cosas. Algo muy común, por lo menos en Nogales, es que alguien encuentra a Cristo y se une a la iglesia y ya se va tu amigo, ¿no? Y sentirse como que ya pasó todo y estás el aferrado ahí tú todavía. Punk rock, yeah. That was just a song about basically feeling like all your friends have like, they either like have converted to Christianity or like have like moved on and you're still there wanting to, you know.
Or they got
party
into
and
rockabilly.
be a punk. Or they got into rockabilly, right? Yeah. Or swing.
Yes.
And driving by Obregon Street, you said, right?
That's right, yeah, because that was based, and that's a bit kind of the fiction in there, or just not fiction, but adding to it, just as if I was still living in Nogales, in Tucson. Like, what would have happened if had I stayed in Nogales, where people kind of they get onto the family life much faster than they would say in a place like
You would have
Tucson.
become a border guard guy.
Yeah, I would have been working at the Circle K. But there's something else about this. I think that was musically, that was me trying. I think I was listening to the Muffs a lot. So for whatever reason, I was trying to write something very, very melodic and poppy and sung as opposed to like shouted. So
That was where it clashed, right?
mhm.
And then comes Sanctum Rectum. How about that?
That was an early song too. That was an Irving song. If Gerard, if you don't mind me projecting, that kept getting pushed back and back. And
Yeah, that's right. Did you play bass on that, or did I play
Friends.
bass? Because it's a slap right there, right?
I think George sang and played bass.
That's the funny thing. I actually played the bass on that recording because
How
Yeah.
Hector refused out of principle.
He didn't want to be flea.
I should say Hector pulled a Morrison on that one.
Yeah, I just can't do it, guys. I don't know, slap bass. No.
Too much.
I
too
really can't
difficult.
play slap bass. Like,
Yeah. So that was a song that was from an old pre-Weird Lovemakers band that again kept getting shuffled to the bottom of the list. And once again, back 20 gave it a moment in the sun.
But Gerard was very prescient on that song because, you know, like 15 years later, that Spotlight movie came out. Is that the name of it?
Yeah.
We're like, I grew up Catholic. We all knew that shit was kind of going on the down low. We all kind of like, people would joke about it, make nasty little jokes. We all knew those priests were weird. And Gerard wrote a song about it way before it became into the international
I
spotlight.
don't think it was way before. I think it's always been around.
No, it's always
Everyone
been a
knows
thing.
that.
But finally became a mainstream thing when that movie came out. And people were like, holy shit, this is really happening constantly over and over.
Yeah.
We all knew it was as a Catholic, growing up Catholic. We all kind of knew, like, there's some weird shit. Those altar boys seem sad. I don't know. It just seemed, we all knew something was weird going on.
Well, it's kind of weird. Maybe because, you know, growing up in Australia, it was more of a thing because, you know, the Cardinal Pell story.
Right.
Cardinal Pell is from Melbourne. He's from where I am now. And he ended up in the Vatican, you know, sitting at the Pope's right-hand side. And he's the highest ranking Catholic priest to ever be convicted. Now, his conviction was overturned. But I mean, I don't know. So I just took it as a given that, you know, Catholic priests, they're molesters, you know, right?
I think we can all agree on that.
Well, I think people knew it for a long time.
Some molesters.
But the Catholic Church had so much power that they always figured out a way to keep it down low. Like, you know, like in Spotlight shows that movie where like these high-level politicians are like, shut up about this story. We stop writing this shit. Like they had a lot of power, and finally it got so bad that now
the Catholic Church actually kept us from printing the lyrics to that song in the insert. That's why they're not in there.
That's right.
No, that was
It's so powerful.
I'm losing your.
Yeah, that was actually Gerard was a
teacher
teacher,
at the time.
school teacher at the
you go.
time, right? No, yeah, and he was just like, we're not putting those lyrics in there, guys. And we did it. No veto.
No veto, indeed. And
Yeah, but
But we gave him a lot of shit.
I think had my teaching career taken place, you know, 10 or 15 years later, I would have been hounded out of my job. Like the
environment is different.
Oh yeah, you know, just the scrutiny, you know. I don't want to use the term cancel culture, but I'm pretty sure I would have been canceled.
Well, I think the name of the band being the Weird Lovemakers and you teaching impressionable children. Yeah, I mean, right. That might have like raised at least one parent flag.
Well, it would have inspired further investigation.
That's right.
So I don't know if Juan knows this, but Juan, we were like all this time, Jordan was a school teacher, and his little kids would come to our all ages shows and just be like, Mr. Schumacher, Mr. Schumacher.
It had to make you pretty cool. I would have to think.
Definitely.
Yeah. He was the coolest teacher in his school, but also was like, some parents might have been like, what? Your teacher is in this weird band?
The weird what?
Yeah.
We're the molesters? What?
And then the next band is the Knockout Pills. I mean, there's a pattern very clearly on display here.
I know. And then when Greg asked me to join, Greg asked me to join the Cuntifiers after, you know, later on.
You drew the line.
I was just like, I'm sick of being in bands where I can't tell the name of the band, you know, to my colleague teacher friends. And I told Greg, I said, either the name goes or I go. And Greg goes, well, I guess I'm going to have to look for another band.
Well, the whole reason I wanted to start that band was just because the name. I just wanted a band called that to exist.
Awesome. And well, let's carry on with that couple of tracks and come back. Vamos a escuchar Vida Aburrida y Sanctum Rectum. Y seguimos platicando bien sabroso aquí con The Weird Lovemakers. Y estamos aquí en Eclecto Maryland Paranoias para piratonas y piratones.
Bajo se convirtió, me puteó en mi rectum, power pueblo. He had a vision that he would become an earthly tumor. But that was not. This was his last. So we lock him, lock up the cover, annually rectum. Sanctum rectum, power pueblo. I will punish you eternally. Send the demon in his chamber. But we'll handle this eternally. Timothy to be the Boy Scout leader.
So wait, can we say bad words in English? Because you're on the
Of
radio.
course.
Oh, so you're not gonna have to edit that out.
English, Spanish, Swahili, you name it.
I wish I knew some Swahili curse words.
Yeah, it's no biggie here. we're non-profit here, so we at least get that, you know.
In America, we can't do that, Juan. In America, even if you're non-profit, you have to follow the FCC censorship rules.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, we don't give a fuck about that.
Wasn't that a Star Trek thing? Like, you know how in Star Trek, Lieutenant Uhura was from Kenya, where they speak Swahili, and the name Uhura means something significant in Swahili.
Yeah.
And they used like Swahili as like the basis for the Klingon language or something.
Huh.
How
Yeah.
about that?
Kind of weird. Star Trek.
Once again.
A Trekkie. Estamos de vuelta aquí en Eclecto Metal en Paranoias para Piratonas y Piratones, y tenemos a ni más ni menos que The Weird Lovemakers. Estamos escuchando esta gema que se llama Back 20. Acabamos de escuchar los temas Vida Aburrida y Sanctum Rectum, y ahora vamos a continuar. We'll carry on with the following couple of tracks, which are Pool Hopping and You're So Fucking Pretty, right?
Fucking, you said it. I guess we can't say anything. You can say friggin'.
No.
Yeah.
So first pool hopping, that is Jason and Hector. Pool hopping, where did that come from?
The lyrics are very simple. They're just what we used to do in Tucson in the summer when it's very hot, is to just go find late at night after drinking or whatever, is to go find swimming pools to
dive in.
Apartments or whatever it is to dive into and hope that you don't get kicked out. And then that was written by Jason, and there's a Moog in there, I believe.
Yeah.
Or some kind of a synthesizer.
Yeah.
And that was released on something else though, right?
Alternate Mix was on Seth. Now Hunks and His Punks is what he's known as, but Seth is what we knew him as. He put out a compilation that was like supposed to be sort of new wave stuff, and I sort of had I was like a little new waver. Like I like a lot of new wave, so we all do, but I would write songs that would be called like New Wave 1 and New Wave 2 and New Wave 3. I think this was New Wave 2. And so,
well, Hector, one of our things was Nuevo Huevo.
Yeah.
I still say that.
Nuevo Huevo.
Nuevo Huevo was what we would call it. Yeah. That was actually a Super 78 song. Nuevo Huevo was a song I wrote on a Super 78 tape that I turned into a Weird Lovemakers song later. But yeah. So it was just like, I don't know. I like that kind of jittery, wavy stuff. And so this was, and because we weren't paying for the studio, we could, tinker around with synth stuff and, that right. That's all. Like I had a little Radio Shack Moog that I used to play in a band called the Gobs and another band called Rocket Number 9. But I think this is the only time it showed up on a Weird Lovemakers album. And Greg had this very, yes, it had like this kind of pitch bending kind of thing. I mean, I couldn't make it do too much because it was sort of janky, I got it at the Salvation Army, but it still worked enough, to use. And Greg had this very complex like guitar thing that was throughout the whole song. And when Gerard and I were mixing it, I was a complete asshole. I was like, just take all that away and only put it on at the end. Because it was like, because it complicated everything up so you couldn't hear like the very simple
Yeah.
melody, but then like it all comes in at the end and it sounds like, you know, that dino, it's that counter melody he was doing. It actually
Well, I was
sounds
sad.
really
I
great.
was sad because it was the most complicated thing I'd ever written. Not
Yeah.
that it fit, but I was like, wow, I wrote something that's not just 2 notes or something. I was like, I can't believe I wrote something that's kind of a lead. And then
And now you know it was no good and had to get cut. So never do that
I
again.
know, I do.
Yeah.
I agree. You're right.
Finally, we
it was
can agree.
too busy. I made it too busy.
But it was cool at the end. It was like the climax at the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then that takes us to You're So Fucking Pretty. What can you tell us about that?
Well, these are one of the songs I like now when it's 2021. I feel bad about because, like, you know about incel, those guys. It sounds like a total incel song, you know. Like, I never hated women during all my sad, bitter times of not getting laid, which I wrote about all the time. It wasn't like I was like, "Fuck women, they suck." I was like, I understood. I was like, yeah, I'm a big, fat, ugly guy. Why should they love me? You know, it's not their fault. But if you heard this song now, I bet incel guys would love that song. They'd be like, yeah, those fucking bitches. And all they care about is how cool the guy is and how good he looks. But I didn't come from that space. I was just sad that I wish I was a better looking guy like Hector. And, I could have got laid easier. I mean,
Greg
I got
had
laid
so many
sometimes.
girlfriends the whole time we were in a
did.
band.
But I
I
had
know.
so many-
I know.
This
I
is
had so
such
many dry
nonsense.
periods, though. I had so many dry periods, though.
Whatever,
It was hard
man.
for me. I would have to like meet a girl and make them like me for my personality for months before they were like, oh yeah, you're worth.
Oh, I had to put in some work. Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of work. There's a lot of nights where my dick didn't get wet. I was just like, okay.
You had to talk.
Exactly. House with
That's
Weak
right.
Foundation, Greg. Cannot stand.
Couldn't
No,
just
no,
show
no,
up
no.
and just be like, "Hey, you're hot."
And that was Hector's move. Hector would just walk in and go, "Hey, you're hot." And it was just
Except
like,
for the one time Gerard, except for the one time in, what was that, Detroit? No, Cleveland, where Gerard just walked into a place and this hot new wave girl, she looked like she was from Square Pegs, the old TV show. She was like out of time, this new wave girl just went right up to Gerard, walked right past Hector, went right up to Gerard and was just like, hey, hi.
true.
It was
Gerard
great. It
wore
was
the outfit he was wearing that night the rest of the tour. Like, all right, clearly this is the magic formula. I gotta wear this t-shirt. And this.
Did the t-shirt say "Hey Hey USA"?
It said
or like,
USA.
No, it was. We went to an op shop and I because I was tired of never scoring on tour and watching, you know, the other guys do it. So I went to an op shop and got a tight t-shirt because all my other clothes were like baggy because it was hot in the
It was comfortable.
and you wanted comfortable hot weather clothes. But I was like, no, I'm gonna buy a tight t-shirt, tight jeans, and I bought this shirt that said USA on the front, and it was skin tight, and a pair of like tight stretch pants, and it was just amazing. Like, yeah, the night that I wheeled those out, this girl was all over me.
That's what Hey Hey USA should have been about.
To be
That's
be
right.
fair,
That's a better story.
never closed the deal. The night ended in tears.
That's true. That's right. There, in fact, this is, I don't know if I can tell the story quickly enough, but Gerard, like, it didn't work out. And so he's drinking in the van. And he's like, I thought I had time, guys. I thought I had time. And we're all just sort of like commiserating with him. It's very silent. And then Greg is like, that is where you fail. Yoda impersonation.
Well, the thing was too is like I think me and Jason were more worried about Gerard getting laid than he was. He was just like, oh, whatever. And me and Jason were just looking over like, Gerard, don't fuck this up. Oh my God,
go talk to her.
We were
Some
like,
other dude came in who also looked like he was on square pegs and like fell down in front of her and she scooped him up and that was the end of it. He looked like Johnny Slash.
Yeah, he was like the punk rocker who was like bumping into everybody and then like fell in front of the band, and then it was just like, oh
Yeah.
He had a
Didn't he,
mothering
like,
the girl had a mothering
fell and
instinct.
was bleeding out of the mouth, and then she,
yeah, like he
took
hurt
that
himself.
guy over me.
Yeah. He activated the mothering instinct. That was where you.
Let's breastfeed him.
That was it. That was exactly it.
Geniales, geniales historias que nos están contando aquí de Weird Lovemakers. Y vamos a escuchar ese par de tracks. Vamos a escuchar Pool Hopping para refrescarnos un poquito después de una noche caliente y volvernos a calentar con You're So Fucking Pretty. Aquí en Eclecto Maryland Paranoias para piratonas y piratones.
Let's go swimming before the sun shines out. The exit has been motivation. We are earthing, skins are for a moment. Even I do what I want. Talking pets adventure, we got the time. Start the bouncing up in underwear. Cutting rope, they burn, she crawled like bottom. As we start splashing around. Light turns on at over 1:35. That's what I've been born to call the times. I'm playing bikes and race to the next pool. Gonna turn back into slugs. Underwater, the sun is going good. In the sun, you carry nasty. It's the pull up in every night in the summer. You'll see how you'll be anymore. It's no way. Yeah, so fucking pretty, walking through the city, all the time looking down, tyranny of beauty. I don't want staring at the fishnet chasing like a carrot. Ask for me to you, my motivating carrot. I don't want, and I won't, and a flame to blow up a bay. Jump up in the vision, never play a mission, body like an Avon causing a collision. I don't want, gonna rip the me, I stand in and let it calling for a pin, I'm tied and going sweaters. I don't want, and I won't, and a flame to blow up a bay. You're so fucking pretty, 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 yeah! All right!
Estamos de vuelta con The Weird Lovemakers, aquí con Greg, Héctor, Jason y Gerard, y estamos platicando sobre esta bonita pieza de trabajo que se llama Back 20 de The Weird Lovemakers, que cumple 22 años. Acabamos de escuchar los temas Pool Hopping y You're So Fucking Pretty. Y vamos a continuar con el tema Ace y Getting Meaner. Ace, ahí están todos, ¿no? You're all of it. It says Weird Lovemakers only. There's no credit to a single one of you. So I bet this was kind of like a jamming session or something.
Wait, what song is Ace?
That's a
Humming.
good one.
I
I
forget
know
it.
my part. Mine was just like down, 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 down. So that probably tells you everything you need to know.
I'm sorry, I can't even remember the how the song
Is it
goes.
an instrumental?
Hector
Yeah.
sang it. No, it's a
No?
great. Yeah,
Which
Hector.
one's
I
the
think-
instrumental? Oh,
How
no,
does
I'm
Ace
sorry.
go?
Lifted is the instrumental, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
How does Ace go?
Ace, let me tell you about that.
I can't quite remember how it goes. Maybe we can play it because
Yeah?
I remember that being just a very kind of sappy love song. I know that.
Oh, I can
Running
listen
out
to
of-
it.
Whenever I run out of ideas, it's like, well, I'll just
Walk
write about
up
a
in a
girl.
restaurant. What's this? In the
Oh,
arms
yeah,
of
yeah,
the
yeah.
setting
One.
sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that song. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. So
Yeah. All right, I remember it. That
I
wasn't.
think we worked that one out at practice. It was one of those rare songs that we just.
It was. It wasn't the Brenda's Never Been breakup song, was it?
No,
That's just when you.
No.
no, because that's a very positive song. This one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you woke up in a restaurant in the arms of a debutante.
Yeah, that was all bullshit, all made up.
wishful thinking.
I really do like that song a lot, though. It's an uncharacteristic
Yeah.
song for us too.
Yeah. I now I know Ace now. I sorry, I just.
It kind of made me, it reminded me of what this guy from Dinosaur Jr. did right after, Sebato.
Oh yeah,
Sabado.
yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
More or less.
Actually, yeah, it kind of sounds like, yeah, I know what song it sounds like, actually. I can't.
Except
I was just listening.
like he took some horse tranquilizers before he recorded the song. Like the guy in Sabado.
Is that what he would do, or was that just
No, but he just sounds
lowered the
that
voice?
guy's a weird voice.
I know my guitar line was kind of Pixies-ish. Like it ended up being sort of Pixies-ish, even though it wasn't my intention. But it had that, just single string. Down. It could be off Doolittle.
Yeah. I don't think I can't remember what I contributed to it. Maybe you guys just let me jump on because I don't know if I did, or I just played what you guys were playing. I can't remember.
And following up with Getting Meaner, that's credited to Pedix.
Yeah, I don't know where I came up with that. I was at the time it was kind of like a character piece. Like some of my songs, it's like I don't really feel this way, but I'm getting into a character, right? And you know what the weird thing is like certain songs over the years, I'm like, I became that guy. Like I was just writing it as a character piece. And then as I got older and bitter and sadder, I was like, oh wait, that's how I feel now. I'm that mean-spirited. I wasn't that mean-spirited at the time. I wasn't that bitter and like, but then sometimes in the past 5 years, like with all the shit that's been going on in the world, Trump and shit, I'm like, oh yeah, I feel that fucking bitter now. I'm like that mean-spirited and just like, fuck the world, fuck all humanity.
I love that song. That's a song I come back to. For some reason, it charms the hell out of me. For one thing, you were being honest about the never got to fuck my babysitter part, but I think that was a legitimate gripe that you had.
Well, I don't want to. I mean, that's a really behind the music that we can't talk about.
But I really think that song could work wonderfully with like a very like plaintive female vocalist at like a slow tempo with a. I think that could be a beautiful song as sung by somebody within that world.
For like a feminine product,
yeah.
Commercial.
I just think it's just got such a lovely lilting little melody. Television's getting weird, but it's my only friend. Mr. Ed is telling me to shoot the president. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, that line. And we're wrapping up this section with Pity Fuck. Yeah, by
Oh God.
I
remember. Yeah, who wrote the music?
Gerard,
right?
Gerard wrote the music. Yeah.
This is one I've got to look this up.
Yeah, how does this one go again?
I remember the lyrics just being about wanting like it was kind of mean actually.
I don't want to sleep with you,
but
I know how much you
but
want.
right, it's kind of like, oh well, you want and I want to please you, but I would rather not. And then it's just about people doing that sort of thing. Like, I know you'll like it, so it's actually kind of a selfless song in a way. Right?
That's right.
I'll do it for you.
You're welcome. Here's my dick.
Or was it it wasn't one of those songs that went both ways, Hector, where girls would never mind.
think
That
it
never
was
happened,
maybe.
did it?
No. I think it was
Hector,
like
did
two
you ever
sides.
fake an orgasm with a girl? That's what I think Gerard's asking. Did you ever get a turkey baster out from your back pocket and be like, "Oh yeah, it came"?
I faked it. I don't know how much it was bought, but I faked it a couple times. Yeah, whatever.
Okay, we'll
Wow.
come back to our
I'm a
therapy
bad actor.
session right after these tracks. We'll listen to Escucharemos, Ace, Getting Meaner y Petty Fuck aquí en Eclectomerolan Paranoias para piratonas y piratones.
I woke up in a restaurant in the arms of a debutante, taking paintings all over the walls. The heavy scent of alcohol, twirling curls with the glamour girls. Always bitching about the bitchin' lights. How the hell did I end up here? My name is Dirt and they treat me like rice. I'll play at the work. They don't have character and they act characters. Take a stop and get a tip to the baby cash. So the glass across the restaurant into the eyes of the special light. Call it pretty looking like me. Do you wanna hang around with me? All I got is a buck and the keys to my sister's pickup truck. We can take it to the beach. Share a Christmas tree and wear our shades, 'cause I should have heard this before. But you're 110 feet tall. I answer you like God at the doors. Serenades. Nothing, nothing else. That is not made for you to decode. I'd rather be in your arms, Serenades.
My girlfriend saying I got mean, and I don't know how she knows this 'cause I haven't seen her. In my house is a bad case of hate. People want my germs, so I guess I'm just a graduation of a feeling dumb and bitter. Never got to fuck my babysitter. Beating up the women, stand aside of me. Only get me solace from beer and misogyny. Heart as barren as my spent libido. Sick and tired of thinking of a plain old fellow. Treated sympathy hasn't even started. Waiting till it turns out like I'm retarded. Television's getting weird, but it's my only friend. Mr. M's telling me to shoot the president. Sesame Street's just a muppet ghetto. Whoop of a lion when it jumps the antelope. Wolf with the spoon, like what you curdle. Let it try one look with your lemons. Put the juice in your eye.
I don't wanna see you, but I know what you want me to. Yeah, I'm feeling like a bitch. Gonna rip another stitch. You're burning with flashing lights. You love the fire truck. You don't want another kiss, but I'm looking way solid to the stairs. Cause your eyes are purple up. It's so pretty and the pity's gonna please a lonely love. You need the light. Train is racing through your brain.
Estamos de vuelta con The Weird Lovemakers. Y acabamos de escuchar 3 geniales temas, Ace, Getting Meaner y Petty Fuck. Lo que nos lleva a el cierre de este genial álbum Back 20 que acaba de cumplir 22 añitos. We'll carry on now with the last couple of tracks, which are Lifted and Opera Boy. Okay, and tell us about that couple of tracks. Lifted, well, this is the instrumental, right?
Lifted was one of the earliest songs that, like, the band before Weird Lovemakers, Irving, before
Irving.
Jason joined. That was a song we had. And Gerard, what was the band we lifted that from?
My Bloody Valentine.
Yes.
It actually is lifted.
Dong, 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 dong. It was totally a lift of this song. That's why we called it Lifted. And originally I would do the spoken word thing on the Irving tape, like where I was just reading this little thing I read about my great aunt who lived to be 103 and she was senile for like 50 years. But then we changed it and we just put samples in because we were like, oh, we have all this free recording time. Let's put in Miller's Crossing. So all those samples from the movie Miller's Crossing by the Coen brothers.
Wait, isn't there like a Total Eclipse of the Heart snippet?
Oh yeah,
too?
we stuck that into and some other things, I think.
Turn around, bright eyes. That's in there.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
An awesome
That
moment.
was the amazing thing about because at that time for us, recording on a computer was like this brand new technology, and it was that whole thing where you could actually like see the little sound wave in all the shapes of the sound wave, the spectrum, right? And you could literally edit it so precisely and then shift it around with time or even stretch out the time, and that just blew our minds, that the fact that you could do that. And yeah, Greg chose to use that as an opportunity to make the recording go on forever.
Credit has to be given to Gerard because Gerard's the guy who figured it out. It's not like we were all working the computer. It was Gerard who knew what he was doing and actually made it.
Yeah,
did the whole thing. Yeah.
An Opera Boy? How about that?
I can't remember the song Opera Boy. What song?
Ooh, that's a Pedix, man. That's about Hermosillo. That's about when we went to Hermosillo.
This is Pedix Jaime, though.
What is the? Yeah, but I can't remember.
Yeah, Pedix Jaime.
Was that the only time you wrote a song and I wrote the lyrics for it?
I don't know. How does that song go? I didn't get to listen.
I can't even remember now.
Let's see. Maybe someone can play it just so I can.
Yeah, I just
Actually went to Hermosillo for a swim.
Yes.
And they're all pretty to see nymphs laughed at him. And then I can't remember how the chorus goes. Weekend beauty, side troll king, and his power magic ring. I don't know. Yeah, because we're down in Hermosillo at Kino Bay. And there was just all these like hot girls hanging out, and I don't know, it was just like a typical Pedix song where like I want to get laid. And
every girl in Hermosillo, when we played a show down there, and we were all blown away by like just everyone was beautiful. Guys were probably beautiful too, but we were talking about the chicks, and it really was striking. We were like, what? And I remember we like ended up staying at like a house that was being squatted. And we went and like slept there, like out on the roof and stuff for the night. But anyway, just I remember just being like dumbstruck by how beautiful, so many of the.
It's the beef.
You know what I love? You know what I loved about Hermosillo 2-1 is like we went down there and we stayed at this house, and like in Tucson this would never happen if you went to a punk rock house. They were playing some punk rock, and then like someone put on like I don't know Sheryl Crow. It's just like all the music is okay. It's like nobody felt like shame or like, oh, this is uncool. They're just like, we like music. And every time we played Nogales even, we'd play with all these different bands, and it wouldn't be like half the crowd would leave because like, oh, these guys are ska or these guys are different. Everyone would just be into everything. It was like everyone in Mexico seemed to like all music. They were just like, we're fans of music. And it's so different, in America where like there's like, oh, that's lame, I'm leaving now, I'm gonna go out.
It's true, there was like a higher tolerance for our bullshit as a result, because we were throwing so much stuff into the blender. And in Tucson we'd catch shit for it. It's like, wait, you gotta all these different stuff, pick a lane, guys. But
yeah, Mr. Chanto didn't go over well in America, but I think in Mexico they might have liked it more.
All right, guys, well, we're running out of time, and we're wrapping up this issue, this homage to Back 20, which I love so much, and I know a lot of people here in Hermosillo do too. I don't know if you would like to say some last words or just wave by.
I'll wave by. I see less than a minute in the corner, but thanks a lot, man. This was really fun.
Okay. Thank you, Hermosillo.
Thank you.
I want to say thanks to Juan, and also thanks to Hermosillo. The shows we played down there were some of my favorite fun times ever. I remember that one weird club that had that owl in a cage at the entrance. Or that was just somebody's house, I think. I don't remember exactly, but it was just always fun, always surprising.
Hola, soy Héctor Jaime y quiero saludar por parte de los Weird Lovemakers a quienes escuchan Eclectomeiroland por Política y Rock and Roll Radio 106.7 FM en Hermosillo, Sonora, la capital del rock and roll en México.